Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jules, and in this vlog I am going to do a little more Sarah J. Maas reading. So I am continuing along my Sarah J. Maas journey, and the next book I am going to pick up is The Assassin's Blade. So we're midway through February, and I have to get Crown of Midnight for sure read this month. But I did want to pick this up as well. I wanted to go ahead and get to this one, which surprisingly, I wanted to pick this up immediately after I read Throne of Glass last month. But I had to get to all my other books that I had to read last month, so I wasn't able to get to this yet. So now I am about to power read these two books. Celaena Sardothien is her kingdom's most feared assassin. Though she works for the powerful Assassin's Guild and its scheming master, Arobynn Hamel, she yields to no one and trusts only her fellow killer-for-hire Sam. But when Arobynn dispatches her on missions that take her from remote islands to hostile deserts, Celaena finds herself acting independently of his wishes and questioning her own allegiance. If she hopes to escape Arobynn's clutches, Celaena will have to put her faith in her wits and her blade, knowing that if she fails, she'll lose not a chance at freedom, but her life. So Throne of Glass started with her being a prisoner in the salt mines. I think it was the salt mines. So, and then she basically gets sent off to the Throne of Glass to be in that competition. And then that's starting her journey, which is, this is the continuation after Throne of Glass. Anyway, so I'm excited to read this one. I think I'm going to fly through this one really fast. I do have the audio for both of them, so that's good. So there's 5 short stories in here. The Assassin and the Pirate Lord, The Assassin and the Healer, The Assassin in the Desert, The Assassin in the Underworld, The Assassin in the Empire. I will give a little snippet of how I like each story. Good morning. I am back with an update on The Assassin's Blade. I've only read the first 2 stories. So I'm on page 120, and look at all these tabs already. This book, I love Celaena. I just love her so much, and like this whole book is just about her. There could not be more badass commentary in here from her. I just love it. So in Throne of Glass, she does mention losing somebody named Sam. In this, her first story that she's in, Sam is another assassin. They're not like, it's not, as far as I know yet, it's not somebody that she has like feelings for, but she's becoming friends with him because they're assassins together and they work together. So this may have some spoilers. So I don't know if you want spoilers or not, but it may have some. So if I remember correctly, in Throne of Glass, she talks about Ben, who is her trainer, or like who trained her as an assassin, along with Arobynn. So in Throne of Glass, she mentions that her parents were killed and she was a child. She's out on her own, and Arobynn found her and basically gave her the option, hey, you come and train as an assassin or live out here on your own and die, is basically. So she didn't have a choice. So that's how she became an assassin. And she's like the best of the assassins. She doesn't really like Arobynn. You know, he's, you know, the lead of the assassins, but he's not a great person. But anyway, so he sends, so this first story, The Assassin and the Pirate Lord, he sends Sam and Celaena out on this mission. She thinks that she's going as revenge to kill people because 3 of their assassins were murdered, and it was in this area where this pirate lord is. So she is told that that is what she's going for, only to find out that that is not what they were going for, and that Arobynn is actually buying slaves. And she doesn't want any part of that. She's an assassin. That's her job. She kills people, bad people. But she doesn't want to take any part in transporting slaves. So basically, they're there to buy these slaves from this pirate lord and to transfer them to Arobynn for him to do whatever he wants with. So this first story is basically her telling Sam, well, she doesn't come right out and tell him what she's doing, but she knows that she's not going to transport these slaves. She's going to free them. So she's, you know, comes up with this plan to free these slaves, and he knows something's up because he just knows her, and she's like, look, I'm gonna do this whether you help me or not, so that's that. So he gets in on this plan, so the two of them end up freeing these slaves and make this pirate lord sign these papers that he'll never sell slaves. She's gonna otherwise she'll come after him and kill him and all this, knowing that she's probably gonna get in trouble by Arobynn. So that's kind of where the first one ends. The second story is, it progresses from the first story, which I didn't realize that, but I kind of like that. So the second story is the assassin and the healer. So Arobynn did punish her, so he beat her up, but he also is sending her off as punishment. He is sending her off to the deserted land to make her way on the journey to the Red Desert to meet the mute master of assassins, with whom she was to train for a month as further punishment for her betrayal to Arobynn. So the second story with the healer, it's actually a really short story. So the first one was a little bit longer than the second one. The second one's only like a few chapters. And it's basically, she's waiting for her ship to sail. This is the second story. It's just like real tiny. She's waiting for her ship to sail out, to take her, to where she's headed. And she's got all this pent up anger. And there's a barmaid that she meets, and she ends up rescuing her from some pretty sleazy dudes who are trying to steal her money. The barmaid wants to be a healer, like her mom. Like her mom was murdered, and was a healer. And I guess now that I still don't know a lot about the gods and their powers and all of that yet, but her powers are gone. A lot of people's powers are gone since the gods are gone, or they think they're gone or have forgotten them. But she wants to be a healer, so she wanted to train as a healer, and on her, she ran out of money, basically, on her journey, this barmaid girl. She ran out of money, and Celaena basically rescues her from these guys, teaches her how to fight. So really that whole story is all like girl power. Well, this whole book is so far is like girl power. So she ends up teaching the girl how to defend herself, basically, and tells her, if you're going to be in this bad area, you need to know how to defend yourself. Teaches her a bit of moves, and then more guys come back, and she ends up, taking them out too, and then basically tells the girl, you need to get out of here. And she leaves her a bag of coins, basically to let the girl get out and go follow her dream of what she wants to do. So that was the second story, basically. On her, she's getting ready to get on this ship to go, where for her punishment, but this was just a little stop on the way in her story of her helping this young healer. Hey guys, I am back with an update on Assassin's Blade. This book is so good, y'all, so good. So the third story is actually a pretty good length story. It's 106 pages. And it's The Assassin in the Desert. So we had said the story before was before she got on her ship to go over to the Red Desert to train with the mute assassins. So she gets there, and she has to share a room with another female assassin, which this is the first time she's ever come across another female assassin. So this Red Desert area, wherever this assassin's place is, they're there because they want to be there, because they want to train as assassins. So none of the people there are forced to be there. Now they can choose, so they all stay there and they train, and then they can choose to take jobs. So they don't have to take the job if they don't want to take the job, but if they want to, they can go take the job, kill somebody, come back. When she gets there, she's a little disappointed because the master, she finds out she's not working directly with the master. She's just training with the other assassins, and she's like, I have a month to be here, and she has to get a letter from the master, basically like his approval that, she learned something from him or whatnot. Well, she can't get that if she can't work with the master. So she spends the first couple weeks just training, like running in the desert, things that she hates and she's not a fan of. and then she finally does get to train with the master, and then he teaches her things. And then while she's there, she's making, you know, not necessarily friends, but she's making acquaintances with people. She ends up getting backstabbed by somebody, one of the people that she has made acquaintances with, that she kind of is considering to be, you know, a friend. This person ends up allowing, working with this other kingdom, I guess, and lets them in, kind of like a Troy moment, if you will. Lets them in and they get attacked. This person tells her that basically drugged her and took her out a ways. And then when she woke up, there was a letter that said, the master thinks this is the best way. That way we don't have to, you know, have an embarrassing goodbye of letting you go home early. There's a sealed letter. So it has like the little wax seal from the master on it. So she thinks it's legit. But then she gets to thinking, like in her mind, she's like, that doesn't seem right. And so she ends up going back. She has a horse. She was given a horse, and she ends up going back. And of course, the fortress has already been attacked, and this person is after the master. So she has to go and save the master and then decide if she's killing this person or not. In the end, the master actually does talk to her. The master also knows that the only reason she's still with Arobynn is because Arobynn she has so much debt. He's given her so much debt that she has to repay, that she can't leave. She can't be free because she still owes him money. The master gives her a bunch of money, a bunch of gold, and gives her the letter to take back to Arobynn, gives her the gold. And he says, when you give your master his letter, also give him this, meaning the gold, and tell him that in the Red Desert, we do not abuse our disciples. So, and then basically tells her that should she want to leave the North, that she always has a home with them. So, I think that's my favorite story so far. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So anyway, I only have 2 more stories left. And they look like they're going to be pretty good size because I have this much left of the book, and this is just 2 stories. I will be back with an update, but I love this book. So this is Editing Julie popping in because apparently yesterday after the 4th story, when I was recording, I did not have my sound on my camera. So really quick story 4 recap today. I was all up in my emotions apparently and just paid no mind. But so story 4 is basically her going back after she did her training, the Mute Master. Sam is there. Sam is glad to see she's back. There's another girl there. She's not an assassin. She's a courtesan. So basically she's going to be like some eye candy for someone, for the lords and kings or whatever. And once she reaches a certain age, which is now, like when they're 18, she can be bid off, you know, to somebody. But anyway, so her name's Lysandra, and Celaena says she'd met Lysandra when they were both 10, and in the 7 years that she'd known each other, Celaena couldn't recall a time when she didn't want to beat in the girl's face with a brick. That would have me cracking up. So anyway, they do not like each other, and this Lysandra girl is trying to make it seem like her and Sam may have had something going on, and of course Celaena doesn't know how she feels about Sam, but she thinks she has feelings for him. Celaena just she's back. She's taken a job from Arobynn. So she's on this mission. She's doing sleuthing. And then Sam said, hey, I'll help you. But apparently he's just been doing a lot of bodyguarding of this courtesan girl. And so she wants to go out and do some, you know, spying, and he's like, I can't go. I'm bodyguard at this ball night. She's like, whatever, go have fun. He's like, oh, but I'll come after. And she's like, you know, do whatever you want. And so she goes and she ends up getting caught. And they basically tie her up underground in the sewer area because the kingdom, well, the city's going to do like this, they will like do a flushing of the drainage system, so like everybody stays out, you know, stays in their buildings while they like flood the, you know, sewages to get them, you know, flushed out. So they're basically gonna drown her. So she's down there. She gets, out of her binds on that she's tied up to, but she can't actually get out of the sewer area because all of the things are like locked. So she's about to die, and Sam ends up coming to her rescue and saving her. So the end of the fourth story, he professes his love. She pays off the gold for her and Sam and tells Arobynn they're leaving. They're gonna move out, and then they leave. So now I'm gonna take you back to yesterday to give you my other thoughts on the last story and final thoughts. This book, I am done. Look at all my tabbies. I am giving this 5 stars. So, as I said, each story progresses into the next story. So you can't just pick it up and like go to the back story and you could, but it makes more sense if you read it all together. So the last story, I'm gonna have spoilers. So if you have not read this yet, you may not want to hear this, but in this last story, her and Sam, they're out of the Assassins. They're not out of the Assassins Guild yet. They have moved out of his fortress. So, but they want to get out of the guild. Like, they don't even want to be in it anymore. So, and they're living together, but they don't have any jobs. So they need to get money so that they can skip out of there. But they're not getting assassin jobs, because usually Arobynn would get their contracts for them, and then they would go do a job and get paid for it. Well, he's not giving them contracts because they left. So Sam was going out and doing like underground fighting ring type thing to get money, and Celaena didn't like that, and she said, you need to stop doing that. He's like, how else are we gonna get money? And she's like, we each need a good job so that we can get money and get out of here. So Sam goes and finds this job, and somebody wants the 2 main guys of their crime lords assassinated. He accepts the job, and she's like, are you crazy? They're like the most protected men of all, and anyone who's ever tried to kill them ends up dead. And so he says he's going to go kill the second in command guy, and she's going to kill the main guy. And they're going to do it at different times, I guess. Sam goes off to do his job and never comes back. So she's like worried. She doesn't know what happened to him. And then Arobynn shows up and says, Sam's dead. She's like, I want to see the body. So she sees the body. He's dead. And then, so she obviously didn't get to do her portion of the assassination because, now Sam's gone. So Arobynn ends up, she obviously has a breakdown when she sees the body. So Arobynn said that whoever killed Sam, basically he got caught and was tortured and killed. They assumed that Arobynn sent him, and so they dropped his body off the assassin's palace because they assumed they were still there and that's where he came from. So that's why she went there to see his body. Sees his body. She's distraught. Arobynn puts her to sleep in her room and ends up locking her in. And then she overhears Arobynn telling, a couple of other assassins that, we need to go kill whoever killed Sam. We need to go take care of this. So they've got this plan hatched that they're going to go get their revenge and then not include her. So she's like, no, I'm going to go kill whoever killed Sam. That's what's going to happen. And she goes and literally falls into a trap. So they knew somebody was going to be coming for revenge. And she fell right into this trap. And then she gets caught. And they are giving her to the king for him to determine what her punishment is. And most likely it's going to be death, either beheading or hanged. So they put her in the prison, at the king's prison, and she's thinking that Arobynn's going to come, break her out, but he doesn't come, and so then she has to go up for a trial. The king She thinks she's gonna, you know, there's nothing left. It doesn't matter to her. She's like, just do what you're gonna do. Just make it quick. And the king says, oh, this isn't gonna be quick. He's like, you're basically sentenced to 9 life spans of time working in the salt mines. So like, she's never gonna get out. So the end of this book has her where she was captured and her sentence to go to the salt mines, which is where the beginning of Throne of Glass starts, is her as a slave in the salt mines. However, again, at the end, we find out that Arobynn played a part in her downfall. So the man needs to die, and he better die at some point in this dang series. As much of a heartbreak as the last part of this book was, I loved every single one of these stories. I loved this entire book. Highly recommend. As far as if you should read this first, because this is a prequel, I would not probably recommend reading this first. Only because in Throne of Glass, you're given little snippets of like something happened, and like it kind of gives you a like you want more information on it. So it's like, so what happened, you know, with Sam, and why didn't Arobynn come and rescue her, or like how did she end up as a slave in the salt mines? Like, so it kind of gives you that wonder of what happened, and then this gives you all of that explanation. So I don't know, because I think if you were reading this, there would be people's names in here that you would be like, I don't know who that is. Whereas in Throne of Glass, you're introduced to some of those names, so you kind of are familiar with who those people are. And I think this would be confusing of knowing who these people are if you didn't read this first. Some people say like this isn't to be read until like after Heir of Fire, I think. But I mean, I don't know. So like maybe there's more people that are introduced along, and maybe that is a good place. So I am reading and vlogging every single one of these books, and going forward they're just going to get more spoilery. So start at my first video and work your way through if you want to watch these, but you don't want spoilers yet, you can always go back and watch them, because they are going to start getting spoilery. That is my vlog for Assassin's Blade, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I am now moving on to Crown of Midnight. I do have a separate playlist for Sarah J Maas books that I have, so you can go there to see any of the other videos and follow along the way. So if you enjoyed this vlog, give it a thumbs up, because that helps my channel. If you are here and you have made it this far, I appreciate you. Thank you. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. That does help my channel as well. And until my next video, friends, be yourself, be awesome, be kind.